How did Chief Minister and DMK President MK Stalin, son of Dravidian patriarch M. Karunanidhi, shape the DMK into a centralized election-ready machine in just 7 years? Imagine this, a Monday morning at Arivalayam, the DMK headquarters in Chennai. Stalin is seated at the head of a long table. In front of him, district secretaries, ministers, and other organizers seated. One by one, Stalin ticks off campaign checklists including booth-level work, welfare outreach, and voter engagement. While ministers scribble the notes, district secretaries nod in agreement with Stalin. Stalin doesn't pause, he moves briskly, instructing, directing, and monitoring his party workers. This is Stalin's DMK today, a party in permanent election mode, a party where welfare delivery, booth level organization, and relentless campaigning form the backbone of its survival strategy. For decades, Stalin lived in the shadow of his father, the five-time chief minister and Dravidian icon M. Karunanidhi. Cadres called him Thalapathy, the commander, since 1980s. But the baton didn't come easily. It was only in August 2018, after Karunanidhi's death, that Stalin finally became DMK's president. For some, he was still just Kalaigna's heir. But 7 years later, Stalin has carved out a model of his own, a more disciplined, centralized, and welfare-driven DMK. Since he took charge, Stalin has led the DMK through 6 consecutive electoral battles, starting with the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the 2021 Assembly victory that crowned him chief minister, local body polls, and then the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. The result speaks for themselves. DMK hasn't lost a single election in this period. Political analysts say Stalin has done two things well. One, he has kept the flock together despite fears of factionalism after Kalaigna's death. And two, he has transformed the DMK's working culture. As one district secretary from Western Tamil Nadu told us, and I quote, "Earlier we would begin election work 6 months before polls. Today under Stalin, DMK functions like a 24/7 election machine, just like the BJP in the north." How is Stalin different from Karunanidhi? Stalin's style of leadership is very different from that of his father. Analysts say his DMK resembles Jayalalitha's ADMK more than Karunanidhi's DMK. Professor V.M. Sunil Kumar told the print that during Karunanidhi's time, DMK was decentralized. Each district secretary wielded enormous power, and Stalin has centralized the party, collapsing the pyramid into a single peak. That is exactly how Jayalalitha ran AIADMK. Now, Stalin doesn't have Kalaigna's flair or literature or oratory, but senior leaders insist that his strength is different. R.S. Bharati, the party's organizing secretary, recalls Karunanidhi's words that Stalin means ulaipu, ulaipu, ulaipu. Bharati adds he has compensated for what he lacks in orator with sheer dedication. Stalin has earned it through relentless hard work. Yet, centralization has its costs. Some analysts say Stalin risks becoming inaccessible to ordinary party workers. Professor Arun Kumar warns, in a cadre-based party like DMK, closeness to the grassroots matters. Stalin sometimes disappears distant. This is the trade-off when all decisions rest in one leader. Even senior DMK leaders admit privately that they no longer enjoy the autonomy they once had under Karunanidhi. A former DMK minister told us that under Kalaignar, they had a freedom because they could handle the damage. Today, in the age of social media scrutiny, every move is wanted with the leadership, and if ground reports aren't in favor, they may not even get the seats in the next assembly elections. Stalin's leadership is often described as managerial. He runs the party like he runs the state through structured review meetings, grievances, and constant monitoring. Cadres now use apps and websites to track voters' enrollment and booth-level membership. One Chennai district functionary explained that Stalin has transformed DMK from a mass movement party into a permanent election machine. Every booth has targets, every worker is tracked. Another key difference between Stalin and Karunanidhi. Stalin doesn't shy away from professional election strategy. Under him, DMK has created its own in-house firm, the Populous Empowerment Network, to manage day-to-day party work. At the same time, he has hired outside firms from Prashant Kishore's IPAC to Showtime's consultancy, Robin Sharma, to sharpen electoral campaigns. A strategist who works with DMK told us that Stalin was clear, DMK must return to power in 2026. Since the 1970s, DMK has never retained power for 2 consecutive terms. Hiring multiple consultants was his way to secure a second term and prevent rival parties from poaching strategists. So, where does this leave the DMK today? 7 years after Stalin took charge, he has centralized the party, modernized its structures, and turned it into an election-ready machine. He has proved himself as a leader in his own right, not just Kalaigna's heir. But the question remains, will this centralized, consultant-driven, welfare-backed model deliver the DMK a second term in 2026? That's the test that lies ahead.